Ladies, let's talk about love, the kind of love that leaves you breathless, the kind that changes everything. But here's the burning question. How do you really know if his love is true? There's a lot of noise out there about relationships filled with cliches and empty promises. But deep down, we all crave something simple yet profound, a love that's real. Now, here's where the problem lies. Most of us fall into the trap of guessing, does he love me? Does he really care? It's exhausting, isn't it? Society has convinced us that love is about sweeping gestures and fairy tale moments. But let me tell you something, the biggest signs of true love aren't always loud. They're subtle, steady, and unshakable. So here's the big question. What is the one thing a man will never do if he truly loves you? Let's unravel this together, because once you know this secret, your perspective on love will shift forever. And as we dive in, you'll also uncover the psychological truths that build love and how to harness stoicism in dating to find strength and clarity. Stay with me. By the end of this, you won't just understand what true love looks like, you'll know how to spot it, keep it, and walk away from anything less. Now let's talk about loyalty, appreciation, and the subtle ways love proves itself. 1. He will never make you question his loyalty. Here's a truth that may sting a little. If a man truly loves you, he will never make you doubt his loyalty. Let that sink in. We've all been there, second-guessing his words, overanalyzing his actions, and wondering if he's really all in. It's exhausting, and frankly, it's beneath you. When a man loves you, his loyalty isn't something you have to beg for. It's woven into everything he does. Think about it. Loyalty isn't just about fidelity, though that's a given. It's about showing up when it matters. A man who truly loves you will prioritize you even when life is busy. He doesn't make excuses, he makes time. Have you ever noticed how someone's actions can scream louder than their words? A man in love will back his words with action, time, and consistency. Let's imagine this scenario. You've had a rough day. Everything feels off, and you're doubting everything, including your relationship. What does a man who loves you do? He doesn't disappear. He doesn't brush you off. Instead, he makes sure you know he's there. Ask yourself this: does he make me feel secure or uncertain? True love isn't about leaving you guessing. When a man loves you, you won't need to check his phone or decode his behavior. Loyalty will shine through his actions without needing explanation. But here's where stoicism comes into play, particularly in dating. You see, stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our reactions, our emotions, and our decisions. If a man's behavior consistently leaves you feeling unworthy or confused, that's not your burden to carry. Let him go. A man who truly loves you won't put you in that position to begin with. Some of you might be thinking, but what if he's just not good at showing emotions? Sure, some men are more reserved, but love is universal. Even the most stoic man, who may not flood you with grand gestures, will never make you feel alone. Do you know what else a loyal man will do? He'll protect your heart. This doesn't mean he'll fight every battle for you or become your savior. No, it's deeper than that. Protecting your heart means he considers your feelings in everything he does. He doesn't flirt with the line of betrayal, and he won't ever put himself in a situation that could jeopardize your trust. Think about the relationships you've seen where the woman is constantly on edge, afraid of what her man might do when she's not looking. Is that love? No, that's fear. True love doesn't thrive on fear, it thrives on respect, and respect demands loyalty. Here's a thought to ponder. Does he show you with actions that he chooses you every single day? Because a man in love doesn't just love you in the good moments, he loves you in the difficult ones too. Now, let's tie this back to something deeper: your worth. If you've ever doubted whether you deserve loyalty, let me remind you of this. You deserve someone who sees your value and treats it like the rare treasure it is. Don't settle for a man who needs convincing to be loyal. Love yourself enough to demand what you deserve. And here's the beautiful part. When you embrace this mindset, you won't need to chase loyalty. It'll find you. You'll attract the kind of man who matches your energy, your values, and your strength. This is stoic dating at its finest, being so grounded in your worth that you only entertain what aligns with it. So, ladies, I leave you with this challenge. Start paying attention to the little things. Does he prioritize you? Does he consider your feelings? Does he make you feel safe even when life gets messy? Because loyalty isn't about perfection, it's about effort. By understanding this, you're not just holding him accountable, you're holding yourself accountable too. You're setting the bar. And trust me, the right man will rise to meet it. 2. He will never take you for granted. Let's talk about one of the most subtle, yet powerful ways a man shows his love. He never takes you for granted. Now, this might sound obvious, but let me ask you something. How many times have you found yourself in a relationship wondering if he truly appreciates you? If you've ever felt invisible or undervalued, let me tell you this. A man who truly loves you will never make you question your worth. Here's the thing about love, it thrives on appreciation. Not just the thank yous and occasional compliments, but the deeper, quieter recognition of who you are and what you bring into his life. When a man truly loves you, he sees the little things, the way you listen to him, the way you support him, and the way you show up for him day after day. And most importantly, he doesn't take these things for granted. But let's get real for a moment. How many times have you stayed in relationships where your efforts went unnoticed, where you gave and gave, but it never seemed to be enough? This happens to so many of us because we believe that love means giving without expecting anything in return. While love is selfless, it should never be one-sided. If a man truly loves you, he doesn't just notice what you do, he acknowledges it, cherishes it, and reciprocates. He won't just assume that you'll always be there doing the emotional heavy lifting. Instead, he'll make sure you know how much he values you, not just through his words, but through his actions. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a man who wakes up every day and sees you as his partner, not his servant, not his emotional safety net, but his equal. He doesn't just expect you to handle the tough stuff, he steps in too. He notices when you're tired, overwhelmed, or in need of support, and instead of brushing it off, he takes action. Maybe it's as simple as cooking dinner after a long day or as profound as holding space for you when you need to vent. Whatever it is, his love shows through his effort. But here's where it gets tricky. Many of us confuse familiarity with love. We assume that just because he's comfortable with us, it means he cares. Ladies, let me be clear. Comfort doesn't always mean love. In fact, comfort is often the breeding ground for complacency. And complacency, that's where love goes to die. A man who truly loves you will never let himself get complacent. He won't take your presence for granted or assume that you'll always stick around, no matter how he behaves. Instead, he'll actively work to keep the connection alive. He'll plan dates, surprise you with thoughtful gestures, and make sure that your relationship doesn't fall into a monotonous routine. Because love isn't about settling, it's about growing together. Now, let me ask you something. How does he make you feel? Do you feel seen, appreciated, and valued? Or do you feel like you're just going through the motions, waiting for him to notice all the effort you're putting in? If it's the latter, let me remind you of this. You deserve more. You deserve a love that makes you feel alive, not one that leaves you feeling drained. This is where Stoicism comes into play. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and one of the most powerful things you can control is your own self-worth. If a man isn't appreciating you, it's not your job to beg for his attention. Instead, it's your responsibility to value yourself enough to walk away from anything less than you deserve. This isn't about playing games or being petty. It's about protecting your energy and refusing to settle for mediocrity. But here's the good news. When you carry yourself with confidence and self-respect, you naturally attract men who will value you. Men who truly love you will notice the way you glow with self-assurance, and they'll want to be part of that light. This is what we call Stoic Dating, being so secure in yourself that you only entertain relationships that align with your values. Now, let's flip the script for a moment. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt genuinely appreciated? Where your partner made you feel like the most important person in the world? If so, you know how transformative that kind of love can be. It's not about grand gestures or constant praise. It's about the little things, like the way he looks at you when you're not paying attention or the way he remembers the smallest details about your life. That's the kind of love that makes you feel alive. And here's the thing. A man who truly loves you will never let you forget how much you mean to him. He won't just assume you know. He'll show you over and over again. Whether it's through words, actions, or both, he'll make sure you feel cherished every single day. Because love isn't just about saying I love you. It's about proving it in a million tiny ways. Now, before we move on, I want to leave you with a question. Are you settling for less than you deserve? Be honest with yourself. If you're in a relationship where you feel undervalued or taken for granted, it might be time to reevaluate. Remember, you are worthy of a love that makes you feel appreciated, supported, and deeply seen. And if you're ready to claim that kind of love, here's what I want you to do. Like this video and comment number 1 if you're ready to put yourself first. Let me know in the comments how you've recognized true appreciation in your relationships or how you're working to cultivate it. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights on love, relationships, and Stoic dating. It's time to level up your love life. 3. He will never stop supporting your growth. Ladies, let's dive into something truly transformative: growth. Love, at its core, isn't static. It evolves, deepens, and transforms us. But here's the deal: if a man truly loves you, he will never hold you back from growing. In fact, he'll be the one cheering you on, lifting you up, and encouraging you to chase your dreams. Take a moment to think about this. Is he helping you grow, or is he standing in your way? The answer to this question is one of the clearest indicators of true love. Here's what it looks like when a man supports your growth. He doesn't see your ambitions as a threat. Instead, he sees them as part of what makes you incredible. He's not intimidated by your success, your independence, or your drive to be better. In fact, he admires it. Because a man who truly loves you knows that your growth benefits both of you. When you thrive, the relationship thrives. But let's get real. Far too many women have found themselves in relationships where their growth feels stifled. Maybe he makes you feel guilty for spending time on your career. Maybe he dismisses your goals as unrealistic. Or worse, maybe he doesn't even ask about your dreams at all. Let me tell you something. That's not love. Love doesn't clip your wings. It helps you soar. Now, let's paint a picture of what real support looks like. Imagine this. You've just landed an incredible opportunity. Maybe it's a promotion at work, a chance to start your own business, or even a personal goal like running a marathon or pursuing further education. A man who truly loves you won't shrug it off or downplay your excitement. Instead, he'll be your loudest cheerleader. He'll celebrate your wins as if they were his own. Why? Because your happiness is his happiness? But here's the tricky part. Supporting your growth isn't just about the big moments. It's also about the little things. It's about listening to your ideas, even if they're still in the crazy dream phase. It's about encouraging you to take risks, even when they're scary. And it's about reminding you of your potential when self-doubt creeps in. Let me ask you this. Does he make you feel capable, or does he make you feel small? If your answer is the latter, it's time to take a hard look at your relationship. Because love should empower you, not diminish you. This is where Stoicism comes into the picture. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and one of the most powerful things you can control is your growth. You don't need anyone's permission to pursue your dreams, but here's the thing. The right partner won't just allow you to grow. He'll actively support you in becoming the best version of yourself. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who truly believed in you? Someone who made you feel like you could conquer the world? That's the kind of energy a man who loves you will bring into your life. He won't see your growth as a competition. He'll see it as a collaboration. Together, you'll push each other to new heights, creating a relationship that's built on mutual respect and admiration. But let's flip the script for a moment. Supporting your growth doesn't just benefit you, it benefits him too. When you're thriving, you bring more positivity, energy, and passion into the relationship. You inspire him to grow as well, creating a dynamic where you're constantly building each other up. This isn't just love, it's partnership in its truest form. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. What if he's just not the motivational type? Here's the thing. Supporting your growth doesn't have to look like over-the-top gestures or motivational speeches. It can be as simple as asking how your day went, showing interest in your projects, or being there when you need a sounding board. It's not about grand displays, it's about consistent effort. Let me share a little secret. A man who supports your growth also respects your individuality. He doesn't expect you to fit into a mold or compromise your dreams to suit his plans. Instead, he embraces the fact that you're your own person with your own passions, ambitions, and goals. And he's not just okay with that, he loves you for it. Now, let's talk about what this looks like in action. A supportive man doesn't just listen to your dreams, he helps you strategize ways to achieve them. He doesn't just cheer you on from the sidelines, he gets in the game with you. Whether it's helping you prep for an important presentation, encouraging you to take that leap of faith, or simply reminding you of how capable you are, his support is tangible. You can feel it in every interaction. But here's where it gets even deeper. A man who supports your growth doesn't just celebrate your wins, he stands by you in your failures. Because let's face it, growth isn't always smooth sailing. There will be setbacks, doubts, and moments of frustration. And in those moments, a man who truly loves you won't criticize or belittle you. Instead, he'll remind you of your resilience and help you get back on your feet. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like your partner is your teammate? Because that's what true love is, a partnership. It's about facing challenges together, celebrating successes together, and growing together. And here's the best part. When you're with someone who supports your growth, you'll find yourself becoming more confident, more ambitious, and more fulfilled. Because love isn't about settling, it's about striving for more. And the right man will be right there with you, every step of the way. So, ladies, if you're in a relationship where your growth feels stifled, I encourage you to take a step back and reflect. Ask yourself, is this relationship helping me become the best version of myself, or is it holding me back? If it's the latter, it might be time to let go. Because you deserve a love that helps you grow, not one that keeps you stagnant. Now, before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Do you feel supported in your current relationship? Or are you ready to embrace a love that empowers you? Let me know by liking this video and commenting number 1. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an opportunity to level up your love life. Remember, love is about growth, connection, and mutual support. Don't settle for anything less than what you deserve. You're capable of so much, and the right partner will see that and celebrate it every single day. Thank you for being here, and let's continue this journey together. Ready for the next part? Let's dive into emotional presence and what it means for a man to never ignore your emotional needs. 4. He will never ignore your emotional needs. Ladies, let's talk about something that runs deeper than grand gestures and sweet words: emotional presence. If a man truly loves you, he will never ignore your emotional needs. And I'm not just talking about being there when things are easy. This is about the raw, messy, and unfiltered parts of life where true love reveals itself. Take a moment to think about this. When you're struggling, does he notice? Does he lean in? Or does he pull away? If his love is real, you'll feel it in the way he shows up, not just physically but emotionally. Here's the truth about love. It's not about solving each other's problems. It's about sharing the weight of those problems. A man who loves you won't see your emotions as a burden or something to avoid. Instead, he'll make space for them. He'll make space for you. Let's get specific. Imagine you've had a tough day. You feel overwhelmed, maybe even on the verge of tears. What does he do? A man who truly loves you doesn't dismiss your feelings with a casual "it'll be fine." He doesn't roll his eyes or change the subject. Instead, he listens. He asks questions. He tries to understand, even if he doesn't have all the answers. Because love isn't about fixing, it's about connecting. But let's be real, emotional presence isn't always easy. Some men struggle with vulnerability. They've been taught to hide their feelings, to be strong in ways that shut out emotional intimacy. So how do you know if his struggle is rooted in fear or indifference? The difference lies in effort. A man who loves you will try. He may not always get it right, but you'll see his effort to meet you where you are emotionally. Now, let me ask you this. Do you feel heard in your relationship? If the answer is no, it's time to reflect on whether this dynamic is serving you. Because love isn't just about being seen, it's about being understood. A man who loves you doesn't just want to know the surface-level version of you. He wants to know your fears, your dreams, your quirks, and even your insecurities. He wants to know you. This is where the philosophy of Stoicism becomes a powerful tool in relationships. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, our reactions, and our emotions. While you can't force someone to meet your emotional needs, you can set the standard for what you will and won't accept. You can communicate your needs clearly and give him the opportunity to rise to the occasion. And if he doesn't, that tells you everything you need to know. Let's talk about what emotional presence looks like in action. It's not just about being there during the highs. It's about showing up during the lows, the moments when life feels heavy and you need someone to lean on. A man who loves you will step into those moments with you. He'll hold space for your tears, your fears, and your doubts without judgment. He'll remind you that you don't have to go through life alone. But emotional presence isn't just about the big, dramatic moments. It's also about the everyday. It's about noticing when you're quiet and asking, what's on your mind? It's about remembering the little things that matter to you, like how you take your coffee, or the way your eyes light up when you talk about your passions. It's about making you feel seen, even in the smallest ways. Now, let's flip the script for a moment. Have you ever been in a relationship where your emotional needs were ignored? Where you felt like you had to shrink yourself to avoid being too much? If so, you know how lonely that can feel. But here's the good news. You don't have to settle for that. You are worthy of a love that meets you emotionally, a love that makes you feel safe to be your full, authentic self. A man who loves you will also create a sense of emotional safety. What does that mean? It means you can express yourself without fear of judgment or dismissal. It means you can be vulnerable without worrying about how he'll react. And it means you can trust that he has your back, even when things get tough. Let me share a little secret. Emotional presence isn't just about how he responds to your feelings. It's also about how he shares his own. A man who loves you doesn't just listen to you, he opens up to you. He lets you into his world, sharing his thoughts, fears, and dreams. Because love is a two-way street. It's about giving and receiving, supporting and being supported. Now, let's address a common misconception. Some people think that emotional presence means being perfect. But let me tell you, perfection has nothing to do with it. Love isn't about never making mistakes. It's about taking accountability and learning from them. A man who loves you will mess up sometimes. He's human after all. But what matters is how he handles those moments. Does he apologize? Does he listen? Does he try to do better? These are the signs of someone who values your emotional well-being. Let's take a moment to reflect. Does your partner make you feel emotionally safe? If the answer is yes, that's a beautiful foundation to build on. But if the answer is no, it's time to ask yourself some hard questions. Are you accepting less than you deserve? Are you holding on to a relationship that doesn't honor your emotional needs? Remember, you deserve a love that makes you feel seen, heard, and cherished. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Emotional presence is one of the most powerful ways a man can show his love. It's not about grand gestures or flashy displays. It's about the quiet, consistent effort to understand you and make you feel valued. And here's the best part. When you experience this kind of love, it changes everything. You'll feel more confident, more secure, and more deeply connected than ever before. So ladies, let's make a pact. Let's stop settling for relationships that leave us feeling emotionally unfulfilled. Let's set the standard for what we deserve and refuse to accept anything less. And let's celebrate the men who show up for us emotionally, the ones who remind us that we're never alone. If this resonates with you, I want to hear about it. Like this video and comment number 1 if you're ready to embrace a love that honors your emotional needs. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights on love, relationships, and stoic dating. It's time to level up your love life. 5. He will never let you feel unloved, even in silence. Let's talk about the kind of love that doesn't need constant words to prove itself. The kind of love that speaks volumes through quiet moments, through actions, and through the way someone makes you feel even when nothing is said. If a man truly loves you, he will never let you feel unloved, not even in silence. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever been in a relationship where the quiet felt deafening, where you doubted his feelings because the words just weren't there? True love is never about filling every moment with noise. It's about creating a connection so deep that even the silence feels comforting. When a man loves you, he makes you feel cherished, not just in the big, dramatic ways, but in the small, quiet ones that speak directly to your soul. His love is a constant presence, like a steady heartbeat. You may not always notice it consciously, but it's always there, grounding you, steadying you, reminding you of your worth. But what does that really look like? It's in the way he holds your hand during a quiet walk, making you feel like the most important person in the world without saying a word. It's in the way he notices the small details, how you like your coffee, the songs you hum when you're happy, the way your eyes light up when you talk about your passions. A man who loves you never lets you feel like you're invisible. Now, let's get real. So many of us have been in relationships where we felt unseen. Maybe he was physically present but emotionally absent. Maybe he said all the right things but didn't back them up with actions. And maybe, just maybe, you convinced yourself that this was enough. But let me tell you this, it's not. When a man loves you, his actions align with his words. He doesn't just say he loves you, he shows it. He makes you feel secure, not just when things are going well, but especially when life gets tough. Because love isn't tested in the easy moments, it's tested in the hard ones. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine this, you're sitting together in complete silence, maybe watching the sunset or just sharing a quiet moment after a long day. There are no words exchanged, but you feel deeply connected. Why? Because his love is palpable. It's in the way he looks at you, the way he sits close to you, the way he makes you feel safe without uttering a single syllable. That's the power of love that doesn't need constant words to prove itself. It's love that is steady, unshakable, and deeply rooted in respect and admiration. But here's the flip side. If you're in a relationship where silence feels like distance, that's a red flag. If his quiet moments make you feel ignored, unseen, or unloved, it's time to reflect. Because a man who truly loves you will never let you feel alone in the relationship. This is where Stoicism becomes a game changer. Stoicism teaches us to find peace and strength within ourselves, even in the face of uncertainty. When you embrace Stoicism in your love life, you stop seeking constant validation. Instead, you learn to recognize the quiet, steady ways that love shows itself. And more importantly, you learn to let go of relationships that don't meet your emotional needs. Let me ask you this. Do you feel cherished in your relationship? Not just in the obvious ways, but in the quiet, subtle ways that make you feel truly loved? If the answer is yes, hold on to that love. It's rare and beautiful. But if the answer is no, it's time to set a new standard. Here's the thing. A man who truly loves you doesn't wait for special occasions to show his love. He makes you feel cherished in the everyday moments. It's in the way he checks in with you, the way he supports your dreams, and the way he's there for you even when words aren't enough. Let's talk about the little things. Love isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as the way he remembers your favorite snack or the way he warms up your car on a cold morning. These small acts of love speak louder than any words ever could. But what if you're not seeing these signs? What if his silence feels like indifference rather than love? That's when you need to ask yourself some hard questions. Are you settling for less than you deserve? Are you holding on to a relationship that isn't meeting your needs? Remember, love isn't about constantly wondering where you stand. A man who loves you will make sure you never have to question his feelings. His love will be consistent, unwavering, and deeply reassuring. Let me share a secret. A man who loves you will also make space for your silence. He won't push you to talk when you're not ready. Instead, he'll sit with you in those quiet moments, offering his presence without pressure. That's what true emotional intimacy looks like, being comfortable in the silence because you know you're not alone. Now, let's tie this back to the bigger picture. When a man loves you, his actions, both big and small, create a foundation of trust and security. You don't need constant words or dramatic gestures to feel his love. You feel it in the way he shows up for you, day after day. So here's my challenge for you. Start paying attention to the quiet ways love shows itself. Does his silence feel comforting or distant? Does he make you feel cherished even when he's not saying a word? If the answer is yes, celebrate that love. And if the answer is no, it's time to reevaluate. Before we wrap up, let me leave you with this. Love is about connection, not perfection. It's about being with someone who makes you feel seen, heard, and valued, even in the quietest moments. You deserve that kind of love, and you should never settle for less. If this resonates with you, I want to hear from you. Like this video and comment number 1 if you're ready to embrace a love that never lets you feel unloved. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights on love, relationships, and stoic dating. It's time to level up your love life. So here we are, at the heart of what true love means. It's not about grand displays or endless words. It's about a connection so strong that it leaves no room for uncertainty. A man who truly loves you will never let you feel unseen, unappreciated, or unloved. His love is steady, quiet at times, but always present. And that, ladies, is the kind of love you deserve. Let's reflect for a moment. You now know the 5 things a man will never do if he truly loves you. He will never make you question his loyalty, take you for granted, stop supporting your growth, ignore your emotional needs, or let you feel unloved, even in silence. These aren't just theories, they're truths that should guide your expectations in any relationship. But here's the real question. Are you ready to demand this kind of love? Are you ready to set boundaries, walk away from anything less, and embrace the kind of love that nurtures your soul? It starts with you. It starts with valuing yourself enough to know what you deserve and refusing to settle for less. Love is a beautiful thing, but it's also a choice. It's choosing someone who chooses you every single day. It's choosing to grow together, support each other, and show up for each other no matter what. And when you find that kind of love, hold on to it, because it's rare, precious, and worth fighting for. If this message resonates with you, let's make a pact together. Like this video and comment number 1 if you're ready to embrace a love that makes you feel truly cherished. Share your stories in the comments. What does true love look like to you? How have you set boundaries to demand the love you deserve? Let's start a conversation that inspires and empowers every woman watching. And don't forget to subscribe. Together we'll explore more about love, relationships, and the power of stoicism in dating. It's time to take control of your love life, to demand what you're worth, and to attract the kind of man who sees and values the real you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Remember, you are worthy of the kind of love that makes you feel alive. Never settle for anything less. Until next time, take care, stay strong, and never stop believing in the power of love. See you soon.